I mean, this isn't necessarily the beginning of Tetris, but Tetris on the Game Boy is an all-time classic. Ooh, the glare is killing that. Of course, we were celebrating Game Boy Tetris with Tetris 99 right now. One of the all-time greatest games of all time, arguably the greatest Tetris game of all time. You can still throw this in a Game Boy right now and have the time of your life. And it is still a fantastic game. Even though it's so simple, there's like hardly any modes. It's just classic Tetris. And it's super unforgiving, no T-spins. You get 3 songs. And it's still one of the greatest games ever made. And it is still eternally fun. You can play this 100 years from now. It's still going to be fantastic. Prison Rules Tetris. Yes, like if you... This is the grow your chest hair Tetris of the time. And even now. Man. Another Tetris from this era. We've got NES Tetris. Tengen Tetris is generally the better of the two, but most people played this one. It's single player only, which is kind of a bummer, but it is still a lot of fun. It has some great music. I still remember the the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies, I think is that song. Still a pretty good version of Tetris. I need to stream this one again, especially now that I feel like competitive Tetris, classic competitive Tetris is using this version. We should try and get back into this one. I streamed it one time and it had one of my favorite streaming moments where I died super quick. But yeah, we'll get back to this one at some point. How many of you guys remember the one true sequel to Tetris in Tetris 2? This is one I picked up a couple years ago, though I remember playing it at the time. I used to have it on the Super Nintendo, and that got stolen, unfortunately. And I recently found it on the NES, which I'd never played before. The NES version, anyway. And Tetris 2 is not really like Tetris, other than the fact that blocks fall down a well. It's a lot more like Dr. Mario with Tetris pieces. It's not bad. It's an okay game. I really liked the puzzle mode in Tetris 2. I think that's the first time where, like, clear all these blocks with only 2 pieces. That was really great in Tetris 2. This one's okay. It's definitely not as good as classic Tetris. Doesn't necessarily worthy of the name, but it is a fun game nonetheless. I would recommend the Super Nintendo version over the NES one, though. Moving on. Also a not really Tetris game, but still one of my favorite games, Tetris Attack. Fantastic puzzle game. Match 3 puzzler before Bejeweled. It's got one of the best head-to-head versus modes in any Tetris, any puzzle game. Tetris 99 is probably going to be up there and challenging it, but like I love the combo system in this game of being able to string. Like I love playing the game and then just pushing your blocks all the way to the top and trying to create as many chains as possible, and just battling someone else, like battling Randy in particular, who's really good at this game, and you're just like comboing each other to death. It is fantastic and probably the most exciting Tetris or puzzle game battle system I've ever played. Tetris Attack. It's unfortunate that they saddled the name with Tetris on this because they can never really release it. I've gone almost as far as to buy the Japanese Super Famicom to get the Japanese version of this on a modern console instead. And it might still be something I do someday. Player 2 Start says, Tetris Attack is probably my favorite puzzle game. Agreed. It is like right up there. And yeah, just the competitive element of it is so good. It is the best. So, if you can find it, Tetris Attack, I know they make it for the Game Boy. They have it for... There's a version of it in Animal Crossing. There's also Planet Puzzle League on the DS, which is great. Couple more Tetrises. This was already mentioned on stream, but Tetris DS. This is the one I played the most competitively. Probably my all-time favorite Tetris game. I love the competitive modes in it. There's so many different ones. I played over 5,000 versus matches in this one and was in the top of the leaderboards for a while, which were really archaic. You had to go to a website to see where you ranked on the leaderboards. It was really dated, and you can't see that stuff now, but such a fun game. It had that browser CPU still haunts me. Yeah, it did get really challenging, and there's a lot of different modes. A really fun one to play. I think this is kind of hard to find now, though. I think they only printed a limited amount of copies, and then Nintendo lost the license. So, if you can track it down, definitely grab Tetris DS, one of the best Tetrises out there. Couple more. Before Puyo Puyo Tetris came out in North America, there were no plans for it at the time, and that's when I bought Puyo Puyo Tetris, the Japanese version. So this is the, oh man, the glare. This is the Japanese version on PS4, and yeah, it's a really cool version. It has both games and mixes them in interesting ways, but if you want to play vanilla Tetris, you can do that. If you want to play vanilla Puyo Puyo, you can do that as well. I'm not good at Puyo Puyo at all, so playing the Puyo Puyo parts in the story mode was kind of a struggle. And I didn't play this one online much because I couldn't read any of the menus, so I did play a little bit of online and got killed most of the time. But yeah, still, Puyo Puyo Tetris in English is, or in a language you can read. Like, maybe you read Japanese and this is great. But otherwise, I had a lot of fun with this one. And the last physical version of Tetris I have here, and we've talked about this on stream as well, Tetris Effect. I have not had the chance to play it in VR, though I have heard from people in this chat that it is amazing in VR. I love the presentation of it, and just the music and the graphics completely changed the context of Tetris, so it's just more of a chill experience, and you just kind of zone out and get in the moment. And I love the music. The music in particular, I want that in this Tetris 99 so bad. Someday, maybe. Probably not. But, and there you go. Player 2 Start says, very cool in VR.